whenever you make a feature film, about 2 soccer stadium size worth of Arctic ice melts.
Have them in your pre-production phase to plan and help you get green actions and initiatives in place. Implementing the green practices will save the money. If you can be more efficient, you are actually being more sustainable.
Hi, and welcome to Spotlight with Tina. I'm your host, Tina George, an international runway model and a film professional, here to bring you insightful conversations with masterminds in the film and fashion world. Are you ready? Lights, camera, and...
Recycle.
Nena Ostrogovic.
Yes.
Is that right? Now,
Yes.
Nena, you are a quality assurance and project management professional for the past 25 years working with large corporates. You also have a master's in science in chemical engineering.
Correct.
With a passion for environmental protection and way of life.
Absolutely.
And on the side, you're also a film production professional. And film has always been your imaginary friend growing up.
Yeah, you can say that. Absolutely.
So today we're talking dirty movies.
Okay.
Well, not that kind of dirty movies. So I'm talking about making a movie without making a mess. And that's to borrow from Earth Angels, Emily O'Brien's company. She is a sustainable production company that helps Hollywood films
Right.
make clean films. So in your opinion, what are these messes that we make?
Well, traditionally in the film industry, the transport is considered the biggest mess we made. Because the fuel and the consumption of the fuel is the largest contribution of the emissions of the carbon dioxide. Then you can go as far as energy consumption, you can go as far as things just being waste management. So anything that you throw away, whether it's props, whether it's sets, whether it's costume, whether it's food. So these are the main contributors, I would say. This is the mess we have to clean up, as you
This is
say.
the mess you have to clean up.
Yeah.
I mean, in this region and the world over, I think we make a lot of films on sustainability, on climate change. I wonder, and tell me if you know the answer to this, how many of those movies actually follow the practices while making those movies, do you think?
Not many, I can say, and it very much depends on a region. We are not very well positioned, so to say, in this areas yet. I would say yet, because I'm looking to change that if I can. So the large corporations and large studios have adopted that way of life, and they have full-fledged departments for sustainability within the studios, within their organizational structures, and they run it as a normal practice. Universal, Sony. It has to still come to this area, I would say. It's geographically very much diverse.
When we were having a discussion, you mentioned there are some films that have already adopted this in their production. Can you tell me more about that?
Some examples, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So the one that has been exploited the most, I would say, and everybody always talks about, is the amazing SpiderMan 2, which was filmed in 2015. And Sony Pictures, up to date, they say this is the most eco-friendly movie they've ever made. And they claim, so to say, that they have saved up to $500,000 just by implementing green practices, whether it means composting, whether it means donating costumes and everything after, recycling their scrap metal, donating or reselling their sets and construction material. They have gone everywhere they could and saved money with it. So.
And that's interesting because film generally, when it comes to materials, they don't have a circular economy.
No.
Like it's done and then it's dusted, it's put away, and then we just look for new things.
True, unless you're talking series. Series are very well versed nowadays, I would say. Downton Abbey, there is a series called Labria done between Universal Studios and
I was in
Matchbox.
Labria.
Oh, you were?
In Australia, yeah.
Oh, great. So there you go. So they were very much ecologically friendly, and they have done the upgrades. First of all, they have reused whatever they could from season 1 to 3. And then at the end they donated, so then nothing went to waste as much as they could. So series are much in a better position to do the reusing and repurposing than a movie is. I agree with you, because it's a one-off. It's not repetitive, and it's always like a prototype. It's never the same. Yeah, I agree.
I think it was Blacklist also who was one of the show. They also employ a lot of these green initiatives, like having electric bikes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. One thing that I think the filmmakers today are not exploiting enough, that I wish they would be more exploited, is the to bring the sustainability within the narrative and in the storytelling. So one thing is being ecologically conscious on the set, but the other thing is driving a hybrid or electric vehicle in the scene. So you are promoting, you are pushing the narrative forward. You're saying, this is my way of life. This is how I want to live. So showing it on the actual scene that somebody is using the reusable bottle, somebody's driving the electric car. This is the type of, I would say, the next level that we have to go to.
Exactly. And I guess filmmakers these days are just trying to get a film out. They're not necessarily thinking about the environmental impact of making a film. But I think there was some study done in Germany that showed that whenever you make a feature film, about 2 soccer stadium size worth of Arctic ice melts.
Well, we would have to do the math. I know that a big production would emit anywhere around 3,000 tons of carbon dioxide. And then we would have to do the math because 1 metric ton of CO2 says that it melts 3 square meters of Arctic ice. So I would have to do the contra math, what you just said, yeah. But I'm guessing it's true, yeah.
Well,
because
that's
they
what
always
I read.
compare it with the Arctic ice. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I guess the soccer stadium was to give an idea of what scale are we talking about.
Exactly.
I mean, that was even surprising to me.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
What was interesting for you about sustainability? What got you into it?
Yeah, I would say that the thing started from my personal approach to life, where I actually do live and try to live as sustainably as I can. And we've implemented it in family. We have water savers at home. We recycle, we compost. We have the water filters under the sink. We don't buy the single-use plastic bottles anymore. So it's just the way of life. And then when I started working in the film as a newcomer, let's say last year or 2 years back, it just made all the sense to me to try to bring my personal passion into the film as well. And I think here in the UAE there's a lot of space and a lot of, actually a lot of space for this to develop and to grow, because it's not on a high level, I would say.
It's very new, yes.
It's
and
very new.
We had COP28 recently, which the huge focus was on Dubai, on sustainability and practices. And I think Dubai also has a vision for 2050 to improve sustainability and their, their carbon emissions.
Yeah, UAE in general. They have committed to the 2050 zero carbon emissions, which not sure how feasible it is, but let's hope.
Is there a place in that? I'm not sure if you've read the documents or if there's information. Is there a place for film in that? Or
so I would say the film is at the very back end of this train, and I think film is yet to come in with the legislation and the policies, because you just mentioned the COP22. There are gazillions of world international recognized standards that organizations can adopt, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, whatever industry you want. When you shift to film industry, there is internationally, yes, but in UAE there is no real standards or legislations that you can follow and you say, I'm compliant with. You can embrace something from abroad, but you don't have anything mandated here locally that you need to follow.
That you need to do.
So that's why I think the film is yet to embrace that.
What practices can they apply from the get-go?
That's a very good point, and I feel that I'm hoping maybe to do that in the future. I would like to tap into the educational institutions, because when you think about it, if you teach them while they're actually being trained to be filmmakers, it would stick more and it would actually become their way of how they do films. So this would be one thing, actually, to try to teach them, have a course or a elective for the beginning. Sustainable production. Let's see how many, will take it, will embrace it. There is a very simple breakdown on any production that you can do, which is a pre and the site location, and then you can just go by each and every department. You can substitute, as we said earlier, you can substitute your single water plastic bottles with reusable bottles. You can do your proper waste management plan. You can compost. You can separate food, different one, organic from non-organic. You can try to do electric, as we said, electric vehicles rather than, you can in general plan your logistics and travel in a way that you're not coming with 2 trucks if you can come with 1. You're not coming with 10 cars if you can come with 5.
Unless it's Fast and Furious and you have 200, 300 cars.
Being blown up.
But again,
going back to SpiderMan 2, they've done the car crashing scenes, but they've used the biodegradable fuel, so whatever was spilled was not harming the environment. So you can come from it from very different angles, and you can still be a little bit more friendly to the environment than they originally thought, in a standard way.
I think the question is going to be, what will this cost me to go in that direction?
what will it cost you? So there is a plus and a minus. Yes, it comes at a cost because you would need to add a resource to your project. You would need to add somebody called sustainable coordinator or sustainable manager, depending on the size of your project. You would need to have them in your pre-production phase to plan and help you get green actions and initiatives in place. And then you would need to have them on site, ideally, to check and monitor and verify. Similarly, like you would say, you have your health and safety. So that comes with additional cost. What I'm hoping to achieve with having conversations with productions, that implementing the green practices will save them money. I participated in a workshop ran by Felipe Pereira this January here in Dubai, organized by a company called Advanced Media. I don't know if you were looking at that. 2 or 3 days workshops were there, and one of them was led by this gentleman called Felipe Pereira, and his topic was green productions, green horizons, he called it. And he was basically saying that sustainability equals efficiency. And I was thinking to understand what angle he has and what does it actually mean. But if you think about it, if you can be more efficient, you're actually being more sustainable. What do I mean? You can come from a point A to D, going through B and C, or you can just go straight A to D. So choosing the right ways, choosing the right methods, making the right decisions will save you money.
Planning.
Ideally, planning. Yeah, planning is a big thing.
Because this is going to require a large amount of planning.
Yes.
I mean, some examples that I can think about when you're talking is, for example, fuel, like planes, very expensive. Maybe use local talent.
Use local talent, or do as much as you can meetings online, so you don't have to fly people in. You will definitely have to. You can do virtual productions. Nowadays, Mandalorian, I'm sure you're aware, they've done not all, but most of their productions in a virtual studio with all the, whatever that environment is or the planet is actually LED projection, and it's not real.
Wow, okay.
So these are the kind of things you can do. Yeah, you have to plan. You're absolutely right. You have to review everything and plan, which this is what I would like to. Yeah.
I think Hollywood, there are many stars in Hollywood who have adopted this approach. James Cameron, for example, he, I think, doesn't like the use of, he promotes the use of digital project plans. So no paper.
No paper,
because we go through so much of paper in scheduling and, oh my God, it's a lot.
And you can do it you can do it online.
We refer to our phones for everything.
Exactly. You can have a WhatsApp group for different departments. You can share your documents online, depending on which software you use as well. For scheduling, there is a Synchronize, there is Movie Magic. You can share documents also online. There's no need maybe to print them.
Are there companies in Dubai who are doing this?
Yeah, I know of one individual producer that does it, and I know of a company called Mata Films, co-founded by a young lady called Laura. She, again, from her own personal passion and view of life, she's doing her productions in a sustainable way as much as she can, as much as the budget allows, because she's always constricted by budget.
Aren't we all? We're all constricted by budget for everything. Most of my guests who've come here always spoken about budgets,
And my goal would be to try to show them that the sustainable approach can be actually efficient and cost-saving element of it. If you, as you said, if you plan and analyze and break down everything, and hopefully you find your places where you can save.
And perhaps the focus is so much more on what's it going to cost us and how much can we save, rather than it being about saving the planet.
But also, I would say there's something about maybe I would like to tell them that it's also like a good marketing and a PR tool, because, as you said, it's new. Not everybody's doing it. And we are now talking about SpiderMan. We are talking about James Cameron. We are, name dropping. We are giving examples. Why would they be not an example for somebody else? They are the first company in Dubai to do this, or first company in UAE to do that. This is also some of the benefits that they can use, I think.
That's true. So is there an incentive at all in the UAE at the moment for
now,
film?
No, because the rebates that you have, they don't have the element of sustainability. Nobody's mandating that you have a sustainable production and that you can get extra money out of it. Yeah.
But then we need support structures for this, because it's very difficult.
Yeah.
You think about it. I mean, it's not even about what can you save or how do you do it as a filmmaker. Something small as a water bottle, right? If you have a shoot for 5 days and you have a crew of, 50, for example, multiply that by the number of water bottles you'll need and scrap the water bottles altogether.
Exactly.
And install
A water dispenser.
dispenser and bottles like the one you brought with you today.
Exactly.
And that's a saving already of so many plastic bottles that would end up in landfill. So it's a very small thing, but it
Very, very small thing.
it adds up.
And actually, I just forgot the name of the studio. I can probably tell you later, but I was in one of the shoots here in Dubai. And we were told the day before the production to come with our bottles because the studio is going green and they will not provide single-use plastic bottles for us, the water.
Yes.
They will provide the water dispenser and we have to bring the bottles ourselves. And I'm thinking, who doesn't have a bottle nowadays?
Leonardo DiCaprio, he's also a huge advocate of the Green Initiative.
Green Initiative, yeah.
Emma Thompson is another one too.
Yeah.
They promote this. So these are big stars who are promoting it. But still, I mean, I didn't hear about it until I actually went and researched about it. So there's still not enough awareness in the world about this.
I wouldn't say in the world. I would say maybe not in this region. Just traditionally because everything was so much there in abundance. So you didn't maybe necessarily need to think, I'm spending, but then I'm doing this to the environment. So let's think about it twice. The numbers are, for example, double. If you look at the typical UK resident, they would probably emit 13 tons of CO2 per year. And UAE resident, this is an old data, I'm not sure if it's still the case, 26. So almost double. So
How
the way of
and
life.
why is it double?
So, well, look at what we drive and how much we drive. Do you know anybody who carpools in Dubai?
No. Oh, I think one person.
One amongst how many friends you have. So this is one thing. And then we don't have many electric cars, and the ones that you have are very, very expensive. They're not very affordable. Where in Europe, there was, I think there was, I don't know, in many countries or in some, incentive from the state, from the country, for people to buy electric cars. So we don't have that. So
Unless it's a visual problem that you see
You will
every
not
day,
think
you
about
will
it.
not think about it, right?
No,
unless
unless
it's
it's-
something ingrained in you that
or
you
it's
are
mandated, as you said.
that's
So-
mandated.
and which we are lacking. Yeah,
Which we're lacking. But there are a lot of countries where, I mean, I don't know, which country has this mandated for film production? Is it actually mandated anywhere?
You have in UK, you have a non-profit arm of BAFTA called We Are Albert, and they are working with, let's say, name companies like BBC, and they are mandating their rules to any production coming out of BBC. But it's a mutual collaboration. They have prescribed the toolkits, they have prescribed the measurement and the calibration, and then the productions and the production houses have gone on board and said, yes, this is what we want to do.
Speaking of toolkit, you created something of your own, like an acronym that makes it easier for production houses to implement this. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, so I call it EPIC steps. It's the things that you need to, I would guide you through implementation for the sustainable approach. And EPIC stands for E, evaluate, B, plan, I, implement, and C, communicate. And this is the cycle or the steps that I think every production should take in order to see where they are, current state as is, plan what can they do better, implement those improvement measures, and then communicate. And by communication, I don't mean just one way, I mean the other way as well, by listening and collecting and gathering information to understand what effectively came out of this project. And you go back to the beginning, to your E, and you can see where the difference is, where I was and where I ended up by implementing these measures.
And they will need someone like you to run this through.
Or at least give them maybe a first assessment and to support them in, and just maybe, jotting their brains to think.
Yeah.
Because as I said, it's about common sense. It's about being just efficient, being more fast, more cheap, more lean, more conscious, whatever. Just being more efficient and just using common sense to try to make things better.
So if I was to recap to give someone a guide on how to go about it, one step would be, for example, reduce the number of water bottles you use.
Yes.
Reduce the number of paper, move to digital.
Absolutely.
Try VFX instead of blowing up cars.
Yeah, for sure.
Food. Food is a big, there's a waste management system with that, or donate it, maybe.
One problem in UAE specifically, and I know I spoke to Laura on this on many occasions, that UAE prohibits by law donation of food.
Okay.
because of various reasons. I would say climate. You don't know if it, you know,
Yes.
it was affected, and it was, somebody can have, God forbid, food poisoning. So that is a legislation that you have to be careful and navigate within the boundaries of
That's
the
a good
laws.
point, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that it's, for example, forbidding us in UAE, which is a very, very common thing anywhere else in the world. And all the other productions are very happy to donate their food to shelters, to schools, to hospitals, or whatnot. We are unable to do that. But probably there are other ways, as you said. Also, just double-side printing. It's also...
Double-side printing, yeah.
It's very simple. It's very banal, but it's very effective. Commuting, using public transport if you can, carpooling.
Maybe having your accommodation close to set so you lessen travel time.
Again, planning.
Planning, back to planning, yeah.
Yeah, planning and being more efficient. Just looking at 360 degrees and how can I do it better.
You worked on a film or a couple of projects that have implemented this, is that right?
Well, we did 2 commercials for Image Nation. They are student commercials for part of their AFS program, Arab Film Studio, when they run the courses. And again, as an enthusiast and a person who just wants to do it.
You took it upon yourself?
Yeah, yeah. One example that I forgot, and you were asking what they can do, is cutlery, for example. It can be wooden. It doesn't have to be plastic, paper plates instead of plastic plates.
And maybe locally sourced, because even the cutlery, it's coming from somewhere else, and you're already, so whatever you're trying to kind of mitigate, you're probably adding to that or canceling each other out.
That's a very good point, but people will tell you, and I know I spoke to the owner of Film Services Middle East, and he was saying, eat avocado and eat almonds, but where they come from, you know? So you want to eat plant-based, but you are dragging it from halfway the world to get it. So yes, I agree with you. You would have to think, as much as you can, circular economy, if you can be within your own little remits, very much improved for the environment.
And tell me about the films that you work with Image Nation. So what did you do?
These were the student commercials that they call it.
What were some things that you did?
We did
realistic examples people
realistic
can
examples.
use.
Yeah. We actually did buy the wooden cutlery. We did buy the paper plates. We bought the big water bottles for when we were making coffee. We separated the waste. We had the printouts of this is plastic, this is water, this is plastic, cans, general waste. And we had the garbage bags around the set, and we had them separated. The thing that I thought was very cute was when we were on the set in Alder Properties, because we were given one of the properties for shooting. We were part of the normal visiting hours of the agents. They come and sell and view the properties. The people who came, they saw the waste management, and they actually participated. They took their bottles and just threw it in our garbage. And I was so happy because we didn't invite them to do it, but they just did it intrinsically. Like you said, if you see a problem, you will have to solve it. But if you see a solution, you will probably more inclined to adopt it.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about this entire thing, is that you actually had to do an initiative on your own for other people to follow. And I know it seems really small and really trivial, like put your rubbish here and do this and do that, but it has a major impact because so many of us are doing that every single day.
Exactly.
And that's why it's called landfill, because it's like filling up our land.
Absolutely.
We find out the planet to put all the rubbish in. I'm not sure what we're going to do with that.
So when you say, one person and many people, the African proverb, if you want to go fast, you'll go alone. If you're going to go far, you go together. So this is the logic behind it. We would all have to jump in on that.
This is a great initiative. And, given that there is no, mandate here right now or nothing to support this initiative of yours, I really commend that you are doing it in your daily life. Thank you for coming and sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to be very mindful as well about this.
Please do. Please
Definitely.
do. Yeah.
And hopefully we'll go together.
And we'll work on this together.
Great.